Okay, this is the Kenwood KA-3500 amplifier, 1970s amplifier, beautiful stainless steel. There are a few marks here, and you can see those in pictures on the auction site. What we basically have is we have an amplifier. Of course, I'm sure you all know this. Some people might not, but most speakers today are powered. They used to not be. So this will take a sound source and actually power speakers that do not have amplifiers. So it's kind of, obviously a vintage thing. What we have is we have 3 sound sources that you can plug into. There's an auxiliary one, which we have the CD player plugged into. You can also plug a tuner into that, or any other line level source. Could be DVD player, anything like that. And then phono, which has a phono preamp in it. So that's only going to be for turntables. But you do have a dedicated phono input there. Again, there's the volume. Not really getting any static right now because I played with it, but initially when I found it, there was a little bit of static on the volume and I believe the balance, but we'll see how it goes, but it seems like it's sounding pretty good. We also have options here on the speakers. I have 2 speakers up here that are going to be on A. That's our pair A. You can either do off if you just want to listen to headphones, or you can do pair A, or if you want to have another pair, you can have pair B. We do have these set up for that. Old Radio Shack speakers. And the reason why I have those is I just read this in the manual that if you do want to hear A plus B, in other words, all 4 together, you have to do that. And they do play. It's just these sound a little louder. Even though I've played with the decibel levels over here a little bit, these are 8 ohm speakers and these are 6 ohm speakers, but it's all I've got right now. 6 ohms are going to have less resistance than 8 ohms, so I believe that's why the louder sound over here. Other features you'll see, loudness on. Right now we have it off so it's flat. You can hit a loudness button that's going to sort of give you more of a bassy, pumped up kind of version. Conversely, you can also switch down to a high filter, which is only going to allow frequencies above a certain point through, so that you could actually use this with a sub and then have this amp only running mids and highs. And I don't know where they actually set that frequency cutoff, but usually it's around 100, 150, somewhere in there where they cut the frequency. Sometimes it's 80, so that this will only play everything above that frequency, and you can allow another system to be in charge of the bass. So it actually allows you to even play this louder on whatever speakers you got. Balance, of course, is right here. And then source, this is tape. I don't really know if we're gonna actually look at that, but it does have options for monitoring tape and dubbing and getting into a lot of complicated stuff like that. So right now the speakers are off, so we'll set them on A and B. And I don't know if you can hear this because it's recording it on a phone. But there goes the treble. There goes bass and treble. Flat again. Whereas with the loudness, you can do loudness plus treble, of course. And when you go down to the high filter, you can notice a little bit of bass loss. Just a little balance. Yeah, no static. It's really nice. There's balance. Now we're going to have these speakers. More bass there. These are bassier speakers, bigger cabinet, bigger speakers. So the bass loss or gain of bass is much more audible. And there's no bass. You definitely notice it on these speakers more. I'll get you kind of close to these speakers. We're still hearing it out of here, but when it goes to A plus B, I think for some reason because of the ohm difference. Notice the difference. Alright. Okay, so what I just did now is I have now rehooked the source here into the tuner section, which is going to take the same line level as a CD player. So you can see the tuner section works. Now you could also have another CD player, another type of sound source, maybe a mixer or something like that. Again, DVD player, whatever you've got for something like that. Okay, so now we've got a turntable set up, obviously plugged into the phono section, and let's put it on. So right now what we're hearing, if you look over here, this is the monitor section. What we're hearing is what, you know, the source is, what we should be hearing. We're not hearing anything come through the tape player. Now, when we push record, you will see the levels are coming up. That's because what is the source, is being sent to this tape player, but we're not really hearing what the tape player is hearing. I don't know if you got to see that. You can see the levels go up and down on this tape recorder when I change the gain, the input gain. Okay, so I'll turn it all the way back down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch into monitor A, because this is hooked up on tape A. So we don't really hear it that loud right now because the gains are so low. Now I'm going to turn the gain up. You will hear static. That is not on the Kenwood amplifier that is the subject of this video. That is on the Technics tape player. Okay, so. And actually there's no static this time. But when you jump it up and down, you hear a little bit. Well, not this time, so that's nice. So anyway, you see, that allows you to hear if the recording is good when you're making a tape recording. I don't know how many people want to do that. I don't know if you could actually use this with a mini disc player. I would suppose so, or a DAT player recorder, but I still also don't even know how many people actually want to do that. But maybe you know, one thing that might be interesting to try would be to use this with like a PC recording card or external recording card or something like that if you wanted to do that. You know, I imagine that would work. So we'll go back to the source. So now we're not listening again to the tape player. I just realized we should be recording something, shouldn't we? So we'll do a little recording here. Play with the gains, which we don't hear right now. So when we play it back, we'll hear this jump up and down. Just like here. Or we should at least. So again, we're listening to the monitor, which is tape. So when I push stop, we shouldn't hear anything. And then we don't. So even though this is playing, we'll rewind. It's the first time really using this tape player, so hope it works. And there it is. So this tape player needs to be cleaned. I just got this. I just picked this thing up. But you see, that's us fluctuating with the volume of the, or rather the level of the input coming into the tape player. And if you go too high, of course, you're going to hear distortion. That's when you start hitting the reds. And I'm actually recording onto an old Johnny Mathis tape. God bless him. It's just that's what was available. But that's a recording of Frank Sinatra onto an old Johnny Mathis tape. And again, the tape player really needs to be cleaned. So we'll go back to source. And one other thing I'll show you is headphones are plugged in, and when we go to off, that's when you get your headphones. So it shows the headphones are working. You can play them loud or soft.
All around, music gotta bounce. Music gotta bounce. Dance because we all around. Music
Yeah, and when you do A and B, if you hooked in your headphones, you can still listen to them on the headphones. That's interesting about this amp. Sometimes it defeats it. Okay, so one final little detail. There's also another one, another dubbing channel, which you can use for another tape player. And there's also options for A to B, but I just wanted to show you that this is on monitor B. There's source. And then when you go to monitor B, you see that portion of the system is also working. I really don't know how this dubbing A to B works. If you don't know. There it is. So that is, once again, the Kenwood KA-3500, authentic 70s, just basic meat and potatoes kind of an amplifier. That sounds great. It sounds bossy. Nothing fancy here. Just good old-fashioned electronics. And, you know, again, not a lot of fancy options. This is more, you know, as you know, if you're looking at this, just for kind of listening to music in a very sort of focused way, I think. And that's the way a lot of people want to listen to vintage music today.